Thank you for rejoining us here. Now, if you missed the first part, don't fear. It was a great interview with Sammy Jo Bell, who told us all about her Silver Saddle success, expects where she can pick up some rides in the future, and maybe a tip up for York at the Ebor Festival next week. This part, we're going to be unravelling the weekend's form and then looking ahead to the Ebor Handicap, the big betting heat of this flat calendar. Now, a place to start is a place where an eye catcher certainly took Value Rater's eye, Interlac, in that Rosa Lancaster Stakes at Haydock. I think it was a very good win, I will grant you that, but I think what every viewer wants to know is exactly how good is the horse going to be?
Yeah, I think this horse is, you know, and honestly could just turn out to be an all-time great. If the mark's got anything to, I've got it running to. I did have in the back of my mind, I remember watching this horse first time, or second run, sorry, at Newbury, form. The second horse came out, it thrashed that second horse there 6 lengths, and of course that's come out and been second to Scottish by a length and a quarter. So this form is some way in front of that. And you remember that was second in a Gordon Stakes. I mean, many would have said, I mean, the 1 to 3 favourite, people would say, well, it was a weak Group 3. I didn't see that. I must admit, I did think the horse was nailed on to win, but I didn't think Master Carpenter there in second, beaten 5 lengths, a group winner himself. Many will look at the form and say, well, they're all handicappers. And, you know, not for me. Of course they have been running the handicaps, but they all are capable of running at group level. Because
with Master Carpenter, when we sat here, it was last week or the week before, you really fancied the Master Carpenter race. You tipped that up as a strong piece of form. And when something's come on top of that and beaten it by 5 lengths, I suppose you'd look a bit silly to say that it was a soft victory. It must have been a good one. Yeah,
I mean, I suppose the race before that we spoke about, the JLT Stakes, when, remember, that was a mad gallop put in by Muchadim. And, of course, Firefighting was in that race again. Now, when we look at the form, obviously on Saturday, Interlac beat Firefighting 6.5 lengths at the weekend. Previously, at Newbury, beat the horse 9.5 lengths, so you can say almost that the horse had regressed 3.5 lengths there. But it was probably more to do, I feel, with the pace. I mean, it wasn't so much of a quick gallop, was it, last time on Saturday? But I think what we must indicate also by Interlac's form is the strength really of Glen Eagles now, because obviously Interlac was beat Consort 2.5 lengths, and Consort was given into our £3, and of course that horse in turn was second to Glen Eagles. And well, I think a few weeks ago we were questioning whether how good this form is, and I really am excited now about the 3-year-old division. And Golden Horn, you know, as much as I've got that 133, Interlac I've marked up here 130, which is only £3 beneath. And where Interlac goes now, I don't know. I see it's got an entry for York next week, 2 entries, the Voltigeur and the Juddmonte. He's got 2 entries there. I rather sense from Mr. Varian that he's very keen to kind of keep the lid on a little bit, and let's wait till next year as a 4-year-old. But my goodness me, this horse, and I do think this horse could be better. It obviously handles good to firm ground, but it's got that little bit of an action that makes me suggest that could be better on good ground. He really fills my eye. This horse, for me, is real top class.
Well, a rating of 130, similar mark, if not the same, I believe, to the Triple Crown winning American Faro. And in a horse that he's beaten in Consort, as you'll know at home, the latest news is that Consort is off to Hong Kong to pursue a career over there. So maybe Value Rater won't be able to put his thick pen through collateral form lines there anymore, but keep an eye on Interlac going forward. Of course, the international racing scene was hot upon us as well over the weekend with the Prix Maurice de Guy Stakes. Value Rater, it was a foregone conclusion before the race started with Muhara, wasn't it? I think it was 11 to 10 favourite, and it done the job.
He done the job well. I mean, from a Group 1, I've rated this performance 124. You know, it's up there. That's what normal place horses like to see. I don't think it's, you know, a real strong Group 1, but at the same time, I don't take the view as many commentators suggested that it was on the weak side. I mean, let's not remember the second horse, Esther Clarique, who of course was second to Solo, none less. All right, that was the surprise of the race for me. You know, that horse coming back from the mile to 6.5 furlongs. Didn't imagine that horse ever to have the speed. Maybe it was class on the day, but of course you've got Lord Byron there in third, and of course he's got plenty of group form himself. But take nothing away from the winner, and just look to me, this was 6.5 furlongs, the only actual race that is run over that kind of distance. It does look to me, Muirra, that that 7 furlongs is going to be important.
And in terms of being a top horse, how well do we rate it? One thing maybe to consider is winning 3 Group 1s in a row. That's consistently very good. But winning 3 Group 1s in a row over the 6 furlongs, over the sprint distance, granted you say 7 furlongs would be a better horse as well, but to consistently win sprint races is even harder than the middle distances, I find, because there can be a lot of unlucky runs.
Yeah, I do. I think the key here probably was that, that extra half a furlong that he got. It does look like a horse that, needs to get really 7 furlongs. If it was 6 furlongs, would the horse have won? Well, the jury would probably be out on that. But no, I do think this form, certainly Muirra is the horse to take out, certainly, and I think there'll be more improvement to come at 7 furlongs.
Okay, happy to keep an eye and happy to keep playing Muirra, but 7 furlongs, the trip that we want. Now, winners of the Phoenix Stakes, of course, the big race at the Curragh at the weekend, where some of those 2-year-olds step forward and look at the prospect of guineas. Winners of this race, Value Rater, will probably certainly appreciate a 7 furlong, if not 8 furlong further in time. And that's what the market suggests. Air Force Blue won this race on Saturday, and now on Sunday, I beg your pardon, and now he is the 8-1 favourite for next year's 2,000 guineas.
Yeah, not for me. I didn't really get this. I didn't actually see the race, and a friend of mine said it was very impressive, and I went back and had a look at it. I don't get it. He was 9-4 favourite. He was taking on Brittino that he ran against previously at Ascot, and they've really flipped over, haven't they? So 2 things have happened. Air Force Blues made that improvement, or the Johnson horses perhaps run a little bit under that form. I'm more inclined to believe that. He travelled well through the race under Joseph O'Brien, and I just thought his head was a little bit high. I didn't like the way he lugged in. You could argue that might be unexperienced, and I don't know, he didn't fill my eye as a potential next year we're going to see him as a guineas horse. I think that the overall form is very questionable. The 4th horse, Painted Cliffs and then Rockaway Valley, well, those 2 running against each other before finishing roughly the same position. I'm not sure what's in behind here. Washington DC was a winner of a listed race, and that form really has been let down at Group 2 level as 2-year-olds. So for me, Air Force Blue, I mean, 8-1 is absolutely ludicrous, and I'd be amazed if that horse was up to winning any guineas next year.
Yeah, and you'd imagine that Aidan O'Brien has a few more darts to throw at the target in this race. But the one thing that would have to catch your eye about Air Force Blue is the fact that it's by Warfront, and the amount of the money that the Coolmore operation are piling into these Warfront colts at the moment. You'd have to think this is one that's going to come good in terms of that breeding line.
Yeah, and of course, horses can and do improve from 2 to 3, and this horse doesn't necessarily hit me in the face as a horse that looks incredibly scoping. We're going to see all this tons of improvement when it comes next year. I didn't like the horse's head carriage. It's just really flipped that form over. Washington DC, I'm not convinced that is serious Group 1 form at 2-year-old. We'll have to wait and see. You mentioned the breeding line there with Warfront. Of course, it's all USA bred, isn't it? And even on the dam, it's that. One thing's for sure, I don't think the horse would want any soft ground, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just think those War Department declaration of war, we've seen them, they're top class 3-year-olds, and something like the Queen of Anne might be in the mixer for that, but that really would be an anti-post, throw your money down the bin. We don't know exactly where he's going. The last race to talk about from the weekend. Now, if Muirra was anything to go by in the Prix Maurice de Guise, then Matt Moo wasn't too shabby in the Phoenix Stakes either. 1 point to take from this, a horse, Anthem Alexander, proper Group 1 performer, flown back in 4th. Matt Moo's won a very strong Group 3 here.
Yeah, it was very strong. I think I highlighted the horse as being one to, to keep an eye on when the ground went soft. I didn't get involved myself. It was good ground at the Curragh, probably the slow side of good, and still looked to me in the closing stages that it would want a little bit more given the ground. You've got to say William Buick, who obviously had a little bit too much to eat on Saturday night, put up a pound overweight. That must have made the difference for the short head. So the overweight of £1 there, I expect Mr. Holford wasn't best pleased, nor William himself, for putting that kind of overweight out. But no, you mentioned there that it was a long way back to 4th to Anthem Alexander. I think Anthem Alexander is probably run somewhere near its form. I do think this is very good form. This is just Group 3 in name. Of course, what it does highlight is McMoo's second in the Chipcase Stakes at Newcastle, with the likes of Dandino in there, I think was third.
Dandino, yeah.
And there was a bunch finish. And at the time, I thought to myself, well, you know, what's it worth going forward? But do go and have a look at that form, because it's proven there that under similar conditions as it was that day. I remember the Easterbees backed the horse at Newcastle as well.
Only thing is there is that, you know, that's 2.5, 3 months ago. You know, horse's ability may well have changed a great deal between that. I mean, can you go back to that race almost 3 months ago and say, well, now that McMoo's done the business, you know, a quarter of the year later, I expect these to do the business as well. It's not that tangible, is it?
Yeah, I mean, don't think for 1 minute that I just automatically go, that's 1, 2, 4, and that was before. What I went back to check was his then collateral form around him and made sense of it. And then when I could make complete sense to my ratings, then you have to believe he's run a similar race. And especially under the conditions, I do think McMoo would be very competitive. In fact, quite possibly could win a Group 1 if he had soft ground. That's a big if. You know, he might be horsed towards the end of the season, but they just had a right ding-dong battle, the two of them there to the line, and a fast time too. It was fast by 0.838 of a second. A fast time here for the slow side of good.
Fast time for a Group 3 race. You know, it's an incredibly strong Group 3 race. I think we've really got to be looking at that form. Just to round off then, Interlock, Muhara, Air Force Blue, Matt Moo. Which one do we take out of it? Which one are we really...
Interak, you know, I'm not one to, as probably will gather, that I will get too, you know, I'm be against some of these horses, but this horse for me really, it just remind me a little bit of Frank Ruiz, what he did to those horses that day. Filled my eye, quickly went away by that distance. And remember, you know, they are not, you know, they're arguing, people will say, well, they're handicappers. Yes, they have been running the handicaps, but very competitive handicaps. And I think we've established over the weeks here that those big handicaps actually turn out you need to be group class. And what it's done to them is I think he's a serious horse that he could be going up, you know, and thankfully we're going to see him next year as a 4-year-old.
Interlock, one to watch. And talking about mixing it with the handicappers, group horses going up against those that are used to be thrown into the handicap, whether there's group horses in this year's Ebor handicap is something certainly on the agenda. The Ebor, of course, really the big prime race in the Ebor Festival, which starts on Wednesday at York Racecourse. The Knaves Mire will be fully prepared for it. Now, I look down my card here, Value Rater, and I just think, is this a minefield, or is it that easy to work out? Some horses have raced against each other at Ascot, then they've then been against each other in the Summer Stakes at Goodwood. Some of them are coming over from Ireland, others are pitched up for the Legend. This is the most complicated piece of form we've got to unravel since we've been on this show, isn't it? Yeah,
it's not easy. I mean, obviously, we're at the time of recording, we're well over 11 days ago from the actual event. There's lots of entries, and obviously, I think only 20. I think you said earlier on to me that can get into the race. So we are having a little bit of a guessing game from an anti-post point of view to know definitely what's going to run, and I have pitched something up which we'll come to in a bit of 40 to 1.
Well, currently 115 runners, and there's a maximum field of 20 that can be accepted. Now, that doesn't sound very easy to pick a winner, does it? But certainly with a little bit of an eye in there, and certainly the field can be narrowed down. Let's not make a big deal of it. This can be narrowed down to probably 40, 50 potential runners. But I'm also here with Value Rate, who's very much the man to look back through form and offer you a service, a tipping line through to big races like this, where you can be getting involved, and probably worth sticking up now to the viewers at home. Just a little treat for you guys at home who have tuned in to the show today, exactly what Value Rater's offering you for giving their casting eyes on our show today.
Yeah, absolutely. We did this a few weeks ago, but my tipping service, if you'd like a 3 months trial to my service, then all you need to do is simply send an email to value.rater@outlook.com. There is no obligation to join the service after the period. Send me your phone number and quote value 10, and then you will get free of charge these text messages that come. Don't think that they're free of charge coming to you. I guarantee a minimum of free value investments per week. But let me remind you, this is a good offer because next we've got York, and always on the service, big festivals, we have one a day. And anyone else that might just be interested in having the free newsletter, go to the website, www.valuerated.uk.com. I must say one thing, there might be a few sighs at home, this is for new customers only. So if you're a customer, if you've had a free trial before, unfortunately it's not for you. But if for new people, perhaps interested just to see how the service works, this is for you. Usual cost is £20 per month, £200 per year, and that service charge is actually going up in October. So if you get in quick, you can get it at the cheaper rate. But as I say, we'll flash this up again at the end, so you've got it. But it's free to all.
When does that text come in? You know, am I waiting there? Am I waking up in the morning and it's on my bedside and I've got one to back on the day, or is it 10 minutes before the race? Have I got to be on the button?
No, absolutely not. You've always got at least 4 hours, you know, normally to get it on, really. It can come any time during the day. So this time of year, we've got even meetings. Sometimes it comes through at 2 o'clock, but generally afternoon race, and they can come as early as 8 o'clock, and it just comes straight through to your phone. It gives you the investment and the best price available. And like always with my service, I work on a level staking plan. It's not up for me to tell you how you should bet, but whatever you bet, keep a level stakes. For example, and I just use the example because you might bet more or less, that if you're a £10 a bet man, it's £10 win or £10 each way.
Absolutely excellent. Usual service, £20 a month or £200 a year, or if you're watching this show, free for the next month. Get in touch with Value Rated, we'll sort you out. He'll get you on the tipping line. Let's get stuck into this Ebor now for those that are going to get another free bit of form thrown at them for our viewers. Where should we start, Value Rater?
Fields, I suppose, the favourite.
Yeah, Fields of Athenry after that win in the Ballyrowan. Actually, people are saying this is a leisure horse. If it's good enough to be a leisure horse, then I'm sure it will trot up in the Ebor.
Yeah, I say favourite. I mean, it's been well backed, this horse. I think the best price at time of recording now is 12 to 1. We saw the horse last time over a mile and a half in a Group 3 at Leopardstown. 8 to 15 favourite. What did he prove? I just thought it was very workmanlike in the closing stages. What I would say about the horse who wears a hood is that he does like to get on with things, and he likes to get on with things, you know, really quickly. I thought his run before that, actually, in the Challenge Stakes listed race over mile 6 of course, which is the Ebor Trip, which is on yield into Saft. A lot more impressive, led from the front and then quickened into the race and really finished well. I just wondered whether it's important that the horse needs those soft conditions, and under faster conditions may struggle. He's got a handicap mark now of 114. We'll be talking about horses this evening that I see to have a stone in front of the handicapper. So unless he's a Group 1 horse at a mark around the 129 mark, he's going to have it all to do. But more importantly, you know, York and Ebor, it's a very hard thing to do. That's a long straight there at York, and it'd do very well to lead from the front at the pace he's been going at. So at the prices, this Son of Galileo is not for me.
Okay, yeah. After that one, I suppose the horses that we're really considering, and almost the most telling two pieces, if not the one piece of form for this race, is the Duke of Edinburgh Stakes at Ascot and the Summer Stakes at Glorious Goodwood. Arab Dawn, Ajman Bridge, Astronarius, a selection that I'll tell you about a little bit later, a bigger price that finished just slightly back in the field, but Waters Meet, all 4 or 5 of those horses in there have been involved in these races. Which one, having looked through all of that form, do you pick out?
Well, that's the trouble, isn't it? We're talking about an Ebor, and generally you need to find horses that are well handicapped and potentially group class. Not saying that we haven't got that, but I just feel a little bit, we've seen that, didn't we, at Goodwood last time? They basically all finished in a line, and you think to yourself, well, you're a few pound better than you, and you're a few pound better than that, and it's not as if these horses are going to go and improve for the step up to mile and 6, because they've already been there. So I don't quite like that. I suppose Amtmount Bridge, I was more forgiven. I thought he was unlucky not to win the Summer Stakes. He didn't get a clear run 2 furlongs out. I know that's often overplayed, but I did think on this occasion that if Adam Kirby would have got out, he was actually quickening towards the finish and maybe been unlucky. I mean, we're talking of a horse there who's got a handicap mark of 105, who I've got rated on that performance 117. Without a doubt, he's on the right side of the handicapper. Of the 3, him, Arab Dawn and Amanda Perrett's horse,
Astronarius.
that would be the one I'd perform. But Astronarius, I mean, that's been a bit of a revelation. Now they've got the trip right.
Absolutely.
Obviously knew now the horse of the stayer. Of course, Pat Dobbs has been doing all the steering on this horse, and I just thought last time there was just a sign that maybe the handicapper was just about having his say. He ran well. He was only beaten 2 necks off a mark in 9 stone 10. Of course, won at York, so he's obviously got that course and distance and done it well that day. I've just got the feeling that horse will, you know, it'd just be, yeah, I can see him getting very competitive, but I just think he might now just be handicapped out of things.
Yeah, well, of course, Adam Kirby dropped his whip in that final furlong in the Duke of Edinburgh. That might have made the difference. Ashman Bridge might have been able to edge it out in, of course, Richard Hughes, who was on the saddle of the eventual winner, Arab Dawn. Of course, the old retired Hughes, he won't be taking the ride on Arab Dawn this time, but certainly one to look out for. Currently around a 14-1 shot there, but it's Ashman Bridge if you were to take one for value rater.
Yeah,
on the screen here.
Just to know, going back to Arab Dawn, because we didn't really talk about him, I was just a little bit disappointed in what was a very good pace at York over the 1.25 miles, where Ashman Bridge actually beat the horse that day 5 lengths. I thought that performance itself, on my figures, was £7 beneath what he'd done before, i.e. when he ran against the Quest for More at Newmarket right at the beginning of the season. But you see what I mean? When we go through this form, they're all kind of around each other, and you'd be a little bit disappointed to see that kind of blanket finish in Ebor for me.
So it's not that you're just getting confused by it and you're looking for something fresh, a fresh view on something else?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you keep on running, these horses keep on bumping into each other, and you know, and the form makes sense when you look at it. It's not as if there's discrepancy of, you know, half a stone here like there would be with low grade racing. They are holding their form, and I just think for an Ebor, would we really be impressed to see Ebor winners with about 4 of them stretch across the track in a photo finish?
Right, sure. You want to see one big improvement.
Oh, I want to see something stepping up for Ebor winner, don't we? That's what we see, and that's what we've got to find, and hopefully I've got it. It is coming up.
Yeah, not least with Mutual Regard last year really stepped up in the performance for no less than the trainer Johnny Murta. He doesn't have a runner this year, but a bit further down the card we must mention some guys that have tweeted us from home. Of course, you can tweet us live here on the show right now with your Ebor handicap winner. Jamie Brownlow said that his selection is Ashman Bridge, and if not that one, Quest for More, who we're just about to come on to, value rater. But Alex Bellew, Penn Hill, James Bethel's horse, he likes Penn Hill. He said watch out for the run at Beverley. He's got an engagement in Beverley before the Ebor, and a positive run there could strike up the band for a big one in the Ebor on Penn Hill. Callum, the other lad that's tweeted us in, thanks for your tweet, Callum, goes for Mighty Yar. Thinks he's been laid out. Quote, laid out, Callum off Twitter on that one. And Clondor Warrior and Quick Jack are going to be tough to beat if they get in off a nice weight. Clondor Warrior is currently trading the favourite at 11-1. Quest for More, who I said we will come on to, at 14-1. Who would you rather?
I think Quest for More really surprised me last time, stepping up to Group 2 company, which was the Goodwood Cup. Of course, over 2 miles, will the step back to 1.6 mile interfere, inconvene the horse? The answer to that is, to be honest, I don't know. I'm not sure he's got much of a turn of foot. When he won that Northumberland Plate, that's the reason I didn't really want him in a Goodwood Cup, because I didn't think he had much of a turn of foot. That slightly concerns me, but this looks a type of race this year where there isn't an absolute standout where you have like horses. But one thing's for sure, I think Roger Charlton has definitely been having dinner with the handicapper, because very kindly left the horse on a mark of 109, which he's allowed to run off in the Ebor. And, you know, when you bear in mind he was, you know, second, and he was only £4 behind the likes of Trip to Paris, who's a Gold Cup winner. Lucky Roger Charlton, and the handicapper certainly giving Quest for More, who, you know, it's got to be said, progressive, but I just think now he's done his win and he's vulnerable. Well,
that, or he's been having dinner with William Buick, and William Buick's been eating the leftovers. But you say that Quest for More might lack a turn of foot. 2 horses mentioned by our viewer at home, Callum, again, thanks for tweeting us, Clondor Warrior and Quick Jack. Add into the mixer of those Seymour, those 3 are flat-footed and slow as a boat as well.
Yeah, I can see the angle for. Let's just go to Quick Jack.
Yeah, go to Quick Jack.
I can see the angle for him. We've seen him obviously recently over jumps. More interestingly, this trip to Paris, of course, Gold Cup winner, didn't look much at the time. I say didn't look much. It was a handicap. It was a Chester Cup trip to Paris. Quick Jack gave Quick to Paris £6 for a quarter length beaten. Now, where you bear in mind that Quick Jack's got a mark of 101, and I've now got that trip to Paris now 124. I could easily see him. I'm very, very sweet on him. I mean, really, buying a horse by footsteps in the sand, which is a miler, shouldn't really be ever getting trips of this, but it does seem to stay extremely well. I couldn't put anyone off, but what I wouldn't advise anyone to do is to back him now, because at the 12 to 1, he's too short, and at those kind of odds, I want to make sure that I have a run for my money. But he's never missed in the market, though. Quick Jack comes from a very shrewd Tony Martin in Ireland, so yeah, he's really at the top, one of the ones near the top of my list for sure.
Certainly wasn't missed over in that market at Galway. They don't half throw some money on horses there. The markets absolutely fly around. The other one to mention is definitely Wadi Al-Awati. We can come on to. Viewers at home are probably wondering exactly when your selection is going to come out of the bag, so we'll get onto that. But Clondor Warrior, if we can just touch on the favourite, surely not quick enough for a race like this as well.
Sorry?
Clondor Warrior.
Sorry, Clondor Warrior. I thought you were going to go
Mullins, you know, I mean, he's a national hunt type as well. I can't really have him at the front of affairs at 11 to 1.
8-year-old now.
Yeah.
Like you, he wasn't really one I was going to go into talk about much depth, because I was very surprised to see him that close to the market. Seen him at Galway, obviously winning there, and of course beat Funmac. Of course, Funmac's also got an entry in the race for their run at Ascot, and of course previously bolted up in a race at Salisbury. Overall, I do think he's one to take on.
And as you say, you're looking for that little edge of improvement, that little angle in there. I know you've had a little look back, and I'm sure that you found one at a ridiculous price that you fancy to step into the race and give us a show.
Yeah, toe the line. The Irish have a very good record here in the Ebor, not from a very John Keeley, not a very sexy trainer. This horse is best price 40 to 1 at the moment. Got a handicap mark of 101. Come back last time in a 1.5 mile race at Leicester at Roscommon on good ground. Must point out this horse has also got lots of form on various grounds. So ground-wise, I think he's very, very versatile. This horse is well bred to get mile 6 right up to 2 miles. What I found more interesting wasn't on that last run when he was third. The interest is the 4th horse, Drifting Mist, the horse was called. Now this horse was behind fields of Athenry the time before. Now, if you go and work out the distances to the pound, it actually puts Toe the Line a length behind that horse. I must remind everyone that horse is at 12 to 1, and this Toe the Line at a huge, say 40 to 1 at the time of recording. This horse looks to me like she has got the class for a race like this, and she'd been disappointing going into this race on 2 other runs. I'm not sure what the problem was there. They tried her twice. She ran disappointed, but this was a real step back to form. She had some real, if you go rooting back to her form last year, she's got some really good form that's worked out into Class 2 and Group 3s. And off 101, if you remember that the favourite, keep on saying the favourite, the Adrian O'Brien horse has got a mark of 114. This horse has got a mark of 101. This is, for me, if this goes to the race, and we're at the time of recording where I would never, the reason I'm going to have an anti-post bet, and I've had one at 40s, is because there is value in doing so. Because if this gets a run in the race, for me, quite simply,
it's 20s, it's half the price.
No, it'd be 10s for me. I really am. If this horse goes for the race, I think she got some really good form last year. Go back to her runs at the Curragh, Thomas, Edison. She just looks to me like she's definitely well handicapped and should go very well.
Who's been the jockey down there? Is it Fran Berry?
Yeah, Fran Berry last time. Kevin Manning's been on before, but generally Fran Berry. But what's I really places like this is that the horses come back to form, and that is really important in something like an Ebor, is that you must come here in form, and at a big price I think she could go very, very well.
Toe the line. We're all ears. Value Rater puts up Toe the line for the Ebor. Now, if you've watched this show 2 or 3 times before, you've probably heard the word Battersea come out of the mouths, not just myself, who is a follower of the horse, but Value Rater, you've put up Battersea a couple of times. Happy to give it another chance, another third chance here in the Ebor?
No, I really had it on 2 runs ago at Haydock. I didn't think it could be beaten. Market signals were there for me. The trainer said they saw the horse is an Ebor. I was so it came cruising up, and I was just thinking, you know, where I was going, I was off to Barbados. I had it all in my head in the fight, you know.
Battersea.
Yeah, I was everywhere out there, about half a mile from home. But then all of a sudden, it was disappointing, and many excused the horse for it and said it come on for the run, not for me. And it proved me right, because it done exactly the same thing the time for at Goodwood, then beaten 5 1/4 lengths by Blue Wave. And I actually think that's a regression from what the horse did at Haydock. And admittedly, if the horse come back to the form at Ascot last year as to why, it's without doubt it's the best handicapped horse, but no way could I have an investment on Battersea at any price.
Okay, split of opinion, because Battersea is one of 2 anti-post bets that I'll be sneaking up should you be ears to them. But I just feel that a couple of runs on the softest ground, and always happy to forgive a horse on the undulating likes of Goodwood. I think Battersea could be a little bit better, and no doubt caught the handicapper out if so, because the handicapper hasn't been anywhere near Battersea fairly for those performances which have been under par. However, the one that I really do like is Libra. Now, Alan Swingbank and Ben Curtis have really struck up a partnership of late. Ben Curtis, not least, the ex-apprentice from Ireland, who's come over and doing a sterling job. But Alan Swinbank's been doing very well with his handicappers. Librang took a bang and a wallop off Mark Johnston's Waters meet in the Duke of Edinburgh, and Librang's only gone up £4. He should have won that Duke of Edinburgh race, really. Comes in off a mark of 98. Librang's an absolute steal at 20 to 1, but I'm not the tipster, you are Value Rater. And before we go, worth reminding the audience at home exactly how they can get involved with the Ebor Festival coming up. Value Rater's value service, £20 a month, £200 for the year, or
what we're going to say is, anyone watching this tonight, or even if you're watching this on YouTube, I will offer it throughout, as long as you put the code in. This is a 3 months trial to my service to send to value.rater@outlook.com. No obligation to join my service afterwards. Just send your phone number within that email and quote value 10, and then you'll be given a notification by text or email to say that you're on the service. You get it free for a month, guaranteed free value investments per week. But also have a look at the website. I've got a free monthly newsletter, and that just tells everyone what's happening with what is the brand of Value Rater now. We're going great guns, we're showing great profit month after month after month. And as I said, people want to jump in and join the service. It is be going up. The rise to my service has been the same price now for a year and a half, but we're going up in October. So and I think anyone, and I would say this, but all my members, loyal members I've had from the start, will recommend that they will you will certainly have good returns.
Freeze the prices. You wait till you have a union out under there, and they'll be striking on Value Rater's tips. But no, absolutely superb offer. Lovely to give the audience at home some free Value Rater service. And I must say thank you, all of you, for joining us this evening. It's been absolutely excellent. Of course, thank you to Sammy Jo Bell, who joined us earlier, the lady jockey who won the Silver Saddle. Can you believe it? Just at the age of 24, young little 5-foot Sammy Jo Bell took the Silver Saddle away from the likes of Jamie Spencer and Olivier Pellier. She really got the better of those at the weekend. She joined us, and that will be on YouTube should you have missed that earlier and you've only just joined us for the end of this Ebor. And if you even joined us so late that you missed Value Rater's Ebor tip, I'm sure he'll give a quick repetition of what the Value Rater's class act is for the Ebor.
Yeah, toe the line at a really big at the moment, 40 to 1.
Toe the line, 40 to 1 is where you go for the Ebor. That's all, folks. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Next week, we'll be getting right stuck into the Ebor. Of course, it kicks off on the Wednesday. Where better place to be, 7:30 Tuesday night. We'll be here on the button previewing the Ebor Festival, giving you all the Value Rater's best bets. And whilst you can, text that value 10 to Value Rater. We'll be giving you a 3-month service. We'll see you next week.